Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're taking your sources, this really interesting snapshot of global news from July 1st, 2025, and going deep. Our goal is to pull out those key knowledge nuggets, the surprising facts, basically your shortcut to being genuinely informed. Okay, let's unpack this. There's quite a bit here.
Absolutely. And our job really is to synthesize all this information.
Yeah.
We want to connect the dots for you, explain not just what's happening, but, why it actually matters, to help you get that deeper analysis that brings it all to life.
Right. Let's dive straight in then. Some pretty major geopolitical shifts happening, starting with Russia and Ukraine. On July 1st, Russia launched what's being called its largest aerial assault yet. We're talking a staggering 537 drones and missiles overnight.
Huge numbers.
Yeah. And NATO scrambled jets in response. Significant damage reported across several regions. What does an attack on, this kind of scale tell us?
Well, what's really revealing here isn't just the number, though that's obviously significant. It's the saturation tactic. This scale suggests, I think, a shift. They're trying to overwhelm defenses, really test NATO's response, and it signals a pretty grim new phase of sustained pressure on infrastructure, on civilians.
That strategic insight is crucial. Okay, shifting over to the U.S., the Senate is deep in a marathon voting session. It's for President Trump's $3.3 trillion Big Beautiful Bill. That's a massive piece of legislation.
It's huge.
And it includes substantial cuts to Medicaid, the healthcare program for lower-income Americans, and also to clean energy subsidies. But it's facing opposition, and not just from Democrats. Some Republicans are pushing back, too. What are the politics like around this?
Well, what's fascinating here isn't just the sheer size of the bill, but how it fundamentally tries to redefine America's social contract, really. The big challenge is bridging these deep ideological divides, even within the president's own party,
Yeah.
especially on things like social spending and climate initiatives. This vote is more than just policy. It's a real test of political will, of party unity.
And related to major policy moves, President Trump also signed an executive order. This one terminates U.S. sanctions on Syria. The stated goal is reintegrating Syria into the international financial system, supporting post-war reconstruction. What are the wider ripples of this decision?
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, lifting those sanctions could have a profound impact on regional dynamics. It might shift alliances, it could open up new avenues for economic, maybe political engagement in the Middle East, but it also, raises some tough questions about accountability for past actions.
Okay, let's pivot from policy shifts to the planet's challenges. Southern Europe is dealing with severe heat waves. Portugal hit 46.6 degrees Celsius, that's incredibly hot, and tragically, over 684 deaths reported across the continent.
Devastating numbers.
Especially in the UK, around 570 fatalities linked to the heat. Here's where it gets really interesting. How do events like this shape long-term thinking on climate adaptation?
Well, the human cost is just. It's undeniably awful. But these events also throw into sharp relief the critical need to move beyond just sort of emergency responses. They really push the urgency for sustained investment, in resilient infrastructure, better early warning systems. It forces a hard look at how societies prepare for these unavoidable climate impacts.
Meanwhile, India is facing its own kind of dual environmental picture. The southwest monsoon arrived 9 days early. That's a significant shift. And at the same time, Delhi is planning to use artificial rain cloud seeding this July to tackle its pollution problems.
Right, two very different sides of the environmental coin there.
Exactly. What does this tell us about India's approach? Seems quite proactive.
Well, this raises an important question, doesn't it, about innovation versus adaptation. The early monsoon shows nature's unpredictability. But the cloud seeding, that's a very deliberate, high-tech, though resource-intensive effort to directly combat a major urban crisis. It's a bold step, really, into human intervention in environmental management.
And sticking with India, on the social policy front, a huge development. They've expanded Social Security coverage. It now covers over 940 million people. That's 64.3% of the population. A massive leap.
That is enormous. The societal impact of a policy on that scale is just. It's hard to overstate. It represents a really significant commitment to improving quality of life for millions. It puts India more in line with that global trend towards broader social safety nets, a more inclusive economy.
Okay, let's quickly touch on some culture and sports highlights now, which also reflect some global trends. Just a small detail, but maybe relevant for some listeners.
Yeah.
U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, changed its text alert number. It's now 872466. Also in entertainment, the John Wick spin-off Ballerina hit digital release on July 1st.
Instant access.
Right. And country star Jason Aldean announced his world tour is expanding, heading to New Zealand and Australia.
These little things actually tell a story, don't they? The ballerina release highlights how dominant streaming and digital access are now. In Aldine's tour, it really speaks to country music's growing international footprint. Culture's definitely global these days.
And in sports, an upset at Wimbledon. French player Benjamin Bonzi defeated Daniil Medvedev. And looking ahead, the 2025 Esports World Cup kicks off in Riyadh soon, July 8th. Huge event.
Yeah, 26 events, 25 different games.
And a massive $70 million prize pool.
The Wimbledon upset is that classic sports unpredictability we love, right? Keeps things exciting. But that Esports World Cup, with that kind of money, it really cements competitive gaming's rise. It's a major global economic force now, alongside traditional entertainment, shows how much things are evolving.
So a whirlwind tour of July 1st, 2025. We've covered geopolitics, huge legislative battles, climate crises, innovative solutions, social policy shifts, and even culture and sports. So what does this all mean for you listening in?
Well, as you think about all these different stories, consider how they're not really separate. They're interconnected. They paint this picture of a really dynamic, fast-changing world. Every decision, political, environmental, cultural, outwards, sends ripples outwards. So the provocative thought might be, keep looking for those connections. Keep thinking critically about how one thing influences another.
Absolutely. Great point to end on. Thanks for diving deep with us today. Keep seeking knowledge, keep connecting those dots, and we'll catch you next time.